Welcome back to the Planet Princess Podcast. This is your host, Princess Nani. I was completing my notes on what I wanted to talk about, and then this idea just popped in my head. So it's quite controversial, so trigger warning. I was making myself a cup of tea, and then I just started to get this download that the reason why most people stay stuck in their spiritual journey is because they worship a God that does not exist. And what I mean by that is God never wanted us to worship it. Maybe that sounds counterintuitive, but just stick with me for a second and it's all going to make sense. Because I grew up in the church, okay? Vacation Bible school. We did not have Halloween in my house. We had Hallelujah night. So maybe some of you know what I'm talking about when I say that. But I think about how a lot of people that I know interpret this concept of God, and it's very superstitious. And maybe that's just how it was in my house, right? Maybe that's just how it was in my family and in my community growing up. But it's just so superstitious, and it's not actually based on, when I think about it sometimes, the actual teachings of the Bible. So when I think of the Bible, when I remember all of the stories that I've read, all of the Bible studies that I've attended, one thing that I notice is that God never says to worship it. And God never says that. God says to become like God. Over and over and over and over again. God says that we are a piece of the Creator, okay? And we, in following the teachings that are set in the Bible, we ascend from this animalistic state into a higher power, okay? And it's funny because Ephesians 6:12, I believe, says that we wrestle not with flesh, but spiritual wickedness in high places. And a lot of people, they interpret that, right? They'll look at the news. They'll broadcast that externally. They never realize that, honestly, the only reason why you can say evil exists in the world, and this is actually a revelation that I got a few years ago, is that it's the only reason why evil exists in the world is because it exists within the human spirit. Okay? So going back to this whole concept of identity shifting, if we look at that scripture, Ephesians 6:12, one more time. So we're not wrestling with flesh, okay? We're not wrestling with flesh. We are wrestling with spiritual wickedness in high places. Look at your life, the struggles that you are facing, right? The problems that you have. The reason why things feel like it's not working out is not because you're struggling with the fact that you cannot be consistent. It's not that you're struggling with the fact that you procrastinate, okay? It's not that you're struggling with X, Y, and Z. It's not that you're struggling with an addiction. It's not that you're struggling with poverty. It's not that you're struggling with your health. It's not that you're struggling with people being fucked up in your life. Okay? It's that you are struggling with spiritual wickedness in high places. And what I mean by that specifically is that one of the things that the Bible actually says the most is fear not. Then you look around and People are drowning in fear, drowning in anxiety, okay? Drowning in worry, drowning in grief. Those feelings create your reality. So when I go back to this realization that I just had when I was making myself a cup of tea in order to record this podcast episode, I was just thinking like, wow, people suffer because they worship a God that does not exist. God says to become like God. God says don't put other idols on a pedestal. But if you were to become like God and take on God-like abilities, which means that now you are the creator of your life, right? Life is not happening to you. You are affecting life. Okay? That's where sometimes confusion happens, I guess, when we talk about woo-woo and new age and manifestation, is that a lot of people think that that's demonic or it's witchcraft because now you're trying to be like God. God says specifically in the Bible to be like God. Okay, so that in and of itself is a limiting belief, and I know because literally I can go home, right? I can talk to my parents, I can talk to my sister, and that's exactly what they'll say. But then when I look at the results that they're getting in their life, something is amiss, and they never miss church. Okay, worshiping something outside of yourself is actually a sin, because if you were to become like God, right, you would not lower yourself in order to worship something else. Okay, that's like, it'll say idol worshiping is a sin, but if you make God an idol and not an identity, then technically you're sinning, because God said to become like God. God said to fear not. Okay, and where a lot of people go wrong is that they shut out everything else and they lean on a limited perspective of the world, and that's actually what causes a lot of their suffering. All right, if we go into the actual science and mechanics of creating our own reality, this is what we find: that nothing exists on the outside of you that doesn't exist on the inside of you. That is why limiting beliefs are so dangerous. Okay, your RAS, reticular activating system, filters out 90% of reality in accordance to what you believe. Your beliefs are like filters, okay? So it can change the saturation, it can change the contrast, it can change everything that you see when you look at an image. That image is your life, and what you're changing is you're narrowing in on what it is that you don't want. And the reason why beliefs are so powerful is because they are backed by these very, 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 very strong emotions. Emotions like fear, worry, grief, anxiety, all the things, okay? That's what reinforces them, because your subconscious mind is your emotional mind, okay? We create with our thoughts and our feelings dictate our thoughts. And I really just wanted to share that because I thought that was just so powerful. And I'm not saying don't believe in God. That is the absolute last thing I would ever say, because by understanding the universe, you understand God. The universe is what God created. God is the energy in back of it. Okay, God is our source that we connect with in order to become better people, in order to create better lives. okay? Like, I really hope that is resonating. I hope that's landing, because the more I study this, the more I just understand what it is that is actually happening. That's the conclusion that I come to. All right. And one thing that I really wanted to talk about today is, this episode is titled How to End Your Suffering Once and For All. And one thing that I've learned that really, really helps is this thing called putting a label on it. Okay? So do you remember yesterday when I said that the prefrontal cortex is the executive functioning of the mind? Okay? It's the part of your brain that makes long-term decisions. It's the part of your brain that assigns meaning. And the reason why I keep reiterating this process that I'm walking you through is because I need your prefrontal cortex to assign meaning that this is valuable, first and foremost, right? That you now have a proven roadmap to overcoming everything that has been holding you back, because there is no condition in your life that exists outside of what you actually believe. And just know that you can have two paradigms running at once, right? You can have this paradigm that says you want more money, but if you keep experiencing more lack or inconsistent cash flow, that just means that you have a belief that says there's never enough. And that's why you panic. That's why there's a fear. That's why you have anxiety about money. And the funny thing about this is that it exists in people who don't have money, okay? And it exists in people who do have money. So this deeper belief that there's never enough not only drives people who are quote unquote, middle class or lower, it does drive people a lot of the times who are very, very rich and very, very successful, because now there's the fear that you'll lose it, right? Now it's the fear that it's never enough, that you have to make more to protect yourself, that any minute now it can be taken away, that maybe it was a hoax. So let me just run it up so that just in case, right? It doesn't matter. You can run two different beliefs at once. And until you completely wash away the limiting beliefs, those feelings will always pop up. That feeling in your chest will always be there. Okay? So when I mean by put a label on it, remember your prefrontal cortex and your limbic brain have an inverse relationship. And a lot of the times we are specifically talking about the amygdala, which is the center of fear, right? It's the center of very, very, very powerful emotions. It actually generates emotions as well. So the reason why we need to put a label on it is because I was reading a book called Never Split the Difference, right? And this goes back to the book Thinking Fast and Slow. When you put a label on something, you activate the prefrontal cortex and you deactivate the amygdala. The amygdala is one of the brain systems inside of your limbic brain. Okay, the limbic brain is actually multiple parts of the brain. So when you put a label on it, you're now not in the fear itself, you're not in the anxiety itself, you're not in the worry itself, but you've now become an observer of the sensation. And the more you can train your brain and your body to become an observer of the sensation, the less it controls you. So put a label on it, right? And one thing that I really wanted to talk about is, as you're on this journey, the way that it works, right? Just very, very quickly, is that these emotions that have been with you forever, the emotions of fear, worry, panic, anxiety, grief, not feeling worthy, all of these deep-rooted emotions like self-criticism and comparison and chronic stress, the way that scientifically how it works is these emotions aren't just in the brain. They're not just the chemicals that we create that flood our bodies. That's what an emotion is a hormone. Just like, I'm pretty sure that you've heard that stress is actually called cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone, okay? The feeling of happiness, serotonin, dopamine, those are hormones. And oxytocin, that's a hormone, okay? So the way that it actually happens with it, you actually create your life, the way that you create reality is thoughts and feelings, okay? Thoughts, that's activity of the mind, all right? Feelings may feel like it's coming from the mind, but when you really get good at tuning into your body, you notice that it's actually coming from your body, right? Because those hormones get stored, okay? So the way that our thoughts and our feelings create our reality is that the thoughts exist within our mind, the subconscious and the unconscious, right? Those feelings, so the memory of those feelings get stored. We actively experience them in our bodies. So your nervous system then broadcasts this vibration out into the universe and magnetizes everything associated with those feelings. And that's how you create your reality, by thinking the thoughts, by feeling the feelings. It keeps you in this perpetual loop, and this loop is dictated on your beliefs, okay? So the reason why, remember I said that when you're transcending out of a loop, you are going to have 3 buckets of confirmation. So the first bucket is the actual manifestation that you want, right? The second bucket is going to be silence, right? The third bucket is things getting worse. And the reason why you experience silence and the reason why you experience things getting worse is because you now have to process all the trapped energy, the trapped emotions out of your body, but you also have to reconcile the inner conflict, which is the limiting belief. Okay? And the reason why there's a lag time, sometimes it's not just the law of gestation, which says that there's a season for sowing and there's a season for reaping, but you can't do both in the same season. Okay, a lot of the times that you experience this lag is because all those trapped emotions, all those trapped limiting beliefs have to rise to the surface so that we can cognitively process it out. So that way they're not lying dormant. They're not these phantom feelings and thought patterns and beliefs that are creating our realities. And that's why you're hearing a lot of stuff about the nervous system. You're hearing that it's not just mindset, it's actually what's going on inside of you at a physical level, because the mind and the body work as one. One thing that I've really come to intimately realize is that the body becomes the brain. Okay, if 90 to 99% of our lives is controlled by our subconscious mind, guess what else is controlled by our subconscious mind? Our digestion, our heartbeat, breathing, the fact that we can think a thought and then seconds later we feel a feeling in our bodies, or we feel a feeling in our bodies and then seconds later we have thoughts. Okay, all that is happening subconsciously and unconsciously because our bodies do become our brains. That's why when you feel hungry, you eat, because you're listening to what's become your actual mind. That's why you can drive and zone out a bit, because your body knows how to do it. You don't need to actively have your conscious mind engaged unless like the weather's bad, right? Or there's a lot of traffic, or someone is driving all crazy and you have to then tune back in order to drive safely and make it to your destination. Okay? This is also why your brain will throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink, if it thinks it's going to keep you safe and it thinks that it's going to keep you alive. And this is really why we suffer. It's because we are navigating two different paradigms. We are navigating having to process and heal the past as well as create the future. And that's why it feels like a tug, like it feels like a push and pull, like a tug of war, right? That's what you are experiencing. That's why it feels so suffocating. That's why it feels like sometimes it's so overwhelming that it's very hard to navigate, and that's why we suffer. And the only way we can end suffering once and for all is by having a roadmap that allows us to navigate both what's going on in our heads and what's going on in our bodies at the same time. Because the responsibility of becoming a creator of our lives is to be able to go through that process. It's called the eye of the needle, if you've read the Bible. In Buddhism, the Buddha says that suffering is necessary until you realize that suffering is not necessary. Like, think about how powerful that is. It's like we have to suffer until we realize that, I don't have to do this anymore, right? And these feelings, these thoughts aren't just what pops up into your head, right? Thoughts are the result of these neural pathways that you have inside of your brain. So have you ever noticed that the reason why your brain loops stories in your mind is because those stories have become so unconscious, so subconscious, that it's just ingrained in how your brain operates. So you don't even have to try to think about, certain things that feel disempowering, because they're automatic. They just pop up because that neural pathway is so deep. It's like a pothole in your brain, and you if it doesn't get fixed, you'll speed past it, you'll pop a tire every single time. And because they're so deep rooted, because they are so ingrained in how we think, they then become our identity. Okay, and every single time you try to feel good, every time you try to make a big shift in your life, these things are going to pop up as a way of survival, as a way of keeping you safe. And that's the issue. That's why I keep repeating over and over and over again to assign meaning, to assign value, that the more you understand how this works, the less debilitating it is, the less overwhelming it is, the less you feel anxious, okay? The less that you are going to worry if you're doing this whole manifestation thing right. Now think about this. The average human being spends 50 to 80% of their entire life suffering in their own mind. All the stress, all the anxiety, all the overwhelm, all the worry, all the self-criticism, the comparison, the grief, the doubting yourself, the fear, all of that stuff The average human being spends 50 to 80% of their entire life in those states, in that way of thinking, and they think that that's normal. In fact, psychology even says that, that's normal. That's normalized dysfunction. That's not necessarily normal. That's why when we look at religions and spirituality, they say that that is not normal. And your limiting beliefs, they have been dictating your destiny up until this point, right? They have been dictating every single little part of your life, because that has been the dominant feeling. That has been the dominant and the deepest neural pathways in your brain. So think about up to this point, what has your destiny been, right? And one thing that we did on episode 2 is that we really defined, who our princess identity is. Now you need to start thinking, what do you need to believe in order to fully become and embody, feel it in your body and your soul down to the bone. What do you need to believe in order to fully embody, to fully become the awareness of this princess identity that we created a few days ago? And that's actually why I told you to get very, very, very specific, because the more specific you get, the easier it is to visualize it in your mind. The easier it is to see what a day in the life of this new version of you is going to be like. And the easier it is to understand, what does this girl have to believe about herself in order to do all of these things and achieve all of these dreams? So I just really wanted to really emphasize that, just so that you understand how important that it is. Once you understand how important it is, it unmind fucks you, right? It's a disillusion, but in the best way possible. It's like the Matrix, starts to shake. And by the Matrix, I do mean your own life. There's a lot of things about the outside world that we cannot control. However, if we control ourselves and how we feel in our bodies, then we are A-okay. And when I got the inspiration to create these moving energy healing sessions, that's what I noticed was the biggest thing. For me, I suffered a lot of anxiety. I suffered a lot of panic attacks. I had been on the personal development hamster wheel and the manifestation hamster wheel for the longest time, really. And I knew all of these phantom and dormant feelings were going to pop up. I just didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to stop the fear and stop the anxiety. And people say, oh, just run through that. So that's what I tried, right? And it did not work, because me trying to combat and fight resistance only created more of it, and it actually created procrastination. It created self-sabotage, because I didn't actually know how to overcome it in the first place, so it stayed with me. And I know for a fact that if you're listening to this podcast, you feel the same way, that you have dreams, you have goals, you have all of these things, but you keep hitting the same invisible brick wall, and that same invisible brick wall is suffering. And the only way to really quantum leap is to shift your identity. And that sounds so cute, it sounds so perfect, but the reality of it is that it's an everyday thing, that you have to be able to navigate all the ups and downs that are going to come with it, because there are these things called pendulums in reality, right? The first pendulum is fear, then it's desire, then the third pendulum is pride, like ego, and the fourth pendulum is anger. And what I just explained is really why I say Ephesians 6:12. We're not wrestling against what it is that we're doing in our lives. We are wrestling against how it is we feel deep down, right? Deep down, your thoughts and your feelings, if those are your godlike abilities, then that is spiritual in nature, okay? And if you are being bogged down with a lot of anger, if you're being bogged down with a lot of fear and worry and grief and comparison and apathy, you have spiritual wickedness in high places, and it can be removed. And that's the process that I'm talking about. Okay, so I don't want you to get all scared. I don't want you to feel like there's no hope. I just wanted to really make that clear that is the only reason why we suffer. Okay, so these 4 things control all of humanity. These are things that they come in and out of our lives, and they exist within the human consciousness collectively, not just individually. So when you are on this journey, when you are setting a new identity, when you are determining what your new beliefs are going to be, not only will you come up against these pendulums in your own life, but you will come up against these pendulums in the world. And the worst thing that you can ever do is try to fight it. That's why I'm training you on this whole technique of surrendering, of just getting really good at being aware of the sensations that are going on in your body. Because if you can do that, if you can create safety that way, then those waves, they don't hit you as hard. And when we do our moving energy healing sessions, right, the ones that I've created, the ones that I were really inspired to create because of this whole phenomenon, we pre-create safety in our bodies. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I was under so much stress. I felt like I needed to get a massage every single day, right? I just needed to get super, super deep tissue relaxed because life was just stressful. And the only way to increase your capacity is to be able to handle the ups and the downs. Now, if you have all of these phantom anxieties and worries and griefs, you have trauma, that's why trauma-informed manifestation is very, very, very specific, because a lot of the times people will try to say all these affirmations and try to quantum leap and shift their reality on shaky ground. We know that we need to be building on a cornerstone, on something strong and something that's foundational. And when those waves of fear and panic and worry and not feeling good enough hit you, it's because that's the shaky ground that you've been operating from a neuropathways standpoint, and from these feelings that never leave your nervous system, that get broadcasted out into the whole world and determine what experiences that you're going to have, what type of people that you are going to meet. And when I speak to women about, the kind of love that they're trying to manifest in their lives, they're saying that I keep meeting the same person. That's because you keep feeling the same feelings. If you feel like you keep hitting the same money ceiling, that's because you keep feeling the same feelings. And it's like that in every single area of our lives. And remember, our feelings determine our thoughts. So before you even had a limiting belief in the first place, you experienced a feeling that caused you to assign a maladaptive or a dysfunctional meaning not only to the world, right, but to yourself. And these things get passed down because all a generational curse is stored trauma in the body. Trauma is considered information necessary to survival. So our ancestors passed down these traumas to us, not as a way to be like, it wasn't like a hot potato moment, right? It was, maybe you need to know this in order to survive, because they wouldn't be with you, right? So, and that is why these cycles of thoughts and feelings and beliefs are so powerful, because our brain thinks that we need them in order to survive. So just like trauma is information passed down in our DNA, the trauma and stress that we experience in our day-to-day life, our brain and our bodies think that it's just trying to keep us safe. Safe also means being stuck, right? So we need to, in these moments, realize that we really have to cognitively convince ourselves that fear, worry, anxiety, panic, paranoia, all the feelings that you always feel that are negative and low vibrational, you need to convince your brain and your body that it's not keeping you safe, that it's not helping you survive. And we do that by creating contrast, by envisioning what our future is going to be, by getting very, very clear on who our princess identity is, right? That's what keeps us safe, and that's what helps us to survive. And the more we reiterate it, the more that we assign meaning, the more that we assign value, the more that we assign purpose to what it is that we're doing, the more our brains and our bodies will really understand that it's not keeping you safe, that it's not helping you survive. Okay? And the moment you can convince your brain and your body that it's not actually performing its actual purpose, it will go away. That is how you end suffering. That is how you eliminate spiritual wickedness from your high places. Okay? And by spiritual wickedness, I don't mean that you're a bad person, that it's like super, like these are just evil things in your spirit. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that these are out of alignment with the nature of God. And in order for you to become God-like, to step into God consciousness, to be the creator of your reality, you have to let go of the things that cause incoherence, right, in your brain and in your body. So, I just really wanted to, make that clear. It's not that, you know how they say, oh, we're born in sin. It's not that. We are born with the animalistic side of us so freaking strong that this whole concept of enlightenment and growing into our godlike abilities takes time, and it takes being in the right environment. And human beings, think about this, are the only mammals that are born having to learn how to be a human. A dog knows how to be a dog. A horse knows how to be a horse. A human has to learn how to be a human. You have to process out all of these lower vibrational feelings that stay trapped and dormant and act like a phantom power in your nervous system and in your brain. So that way you have access to clarity. You have access to mental health. You have access to becoming the actual creator of your own life, right? And that is why we do our moving energy healing sessions. Okay, they're linked below. And that's why this podcast exists, because we need to be able to navigate how we feel in our bodies and what's going on in our awareness and in our mind, so that we can fully process out what is actually happening to us, and we stop feeling like life is happening to us, and we start realizing that life has been happening for us this whole time. And the more that you do the work, the more that you start tracing back those feelings, you'll start to notice these patterns. Because one thing that I realized, even with, all of the abuse and bullying that I suffered growing up, those feelings were so fucking strong. I felt it on every level. And then ever since then, it just kept happening. And maybe you've noticed that too in your life. And I'm not blaming myself for it, because I was just a child. I did not understand how this whole thing created. Yeah, I went to church. Yeah, but the adults around me, they were all suffering. They were all suffering because of the same thing I'm explaining to you. And as human beings, we tend to think that, oh, it's so hard to change. This is exactly why it's hard to change. Because not only we're not wrestling against flesh, we're not wrestling against how we feel in our bodies. We are wrestling against spiritual wickedness in high places, which means personally, right? All of the thoughts and the feelings and everything that you are feeling in your body, your emotions are spiritual. Because if God, the creator of this whole universe, decided that what was most important was our thoughts and our feelings, then our thoughts and our feelings are what make us creators. Okay, if you go back to the book of Genesis, you'll notice that God first had an intention. God said, let there be light. And then there was light. Then God created all of the heavens and the earth. And God had to be able to think clearly, right? God had to be able to picture what light could have been like before light happened. God had to be able to picture in God's mind what the heavens and the earth should look like. God would have had to assign meaning for all of these phenomenons that we see in nature, because they all have a function. Nothing exists for no reason, right? So that is what makes us creators. The fact that we can picture in our minds, we can visualize, we can have clear intentions and carry those out in our lives, right? And the reason why most people feel like they're suffering all the time, the reason why most people spend 50 to 80% of their lives in their minds fighting for their life, is because they feel disconnected from God. That's why it doesn't make sense to worship God. God said to become one with God. God said to become love, because the heart is the center of creation. The heart has to tell the brain that it's over. Once you activate your heart, that energy travels to the brain, and then that is how you create in a coherent state. Anything else is just white noise. Anything else is just incoherent. And anything else keeps you trapped in this perpetual vicious cycle of your brain and your body pulling you back into fear, into worry, into stress, anxiety, overwhelm, apathy, panic, paranoia, not feeling ready or not feeling worthy. Okay, so what the moving energy healing sessions are going to do, they are going to help you create so much safety in your mind and in your body, that when you are hit with those floods and those waves of all of these low vibrational feelings, then you know for a fact that you know how to handle them. And by listening to this podcast, by being in my container, you get to actually understand what are the physical and mental models, right? The tools that are going to help you successfully navigate this. So that way you're not creating things in your life that you don't want. You're not continuing to meet the same guy, because you've processed that pattern out on every single level, right? The only reason why we suffer is because of our own minds, right? If something in your life is genuinely not how you want it, it's only because you have a limiting belief, and by now you understand how deep that really runs. It's not just what you think. It's not like all redheads have tempers, or like like my family, they're black, and I also have family that originated in Ireland. So it's not like saying like, oh, all these different types of people are alcoholics. Like, no, like your limiting beliefs are not, I guarantee you, are not going to be like a stereotype. Okay, it's really going to be like what it is that you keep bumping up to in your life. That upper limit, that invisible brick wall, like it's gonna be those things. And a lot of the times it's so ingrained in how we see the world that we don't even realize it until we set a new intention until we set a new identity, until we predefine what it is that we want to experience, and we're met with all this resistance, that's actually when we uncover what our limiting beliefs are. Though they're the feelings that come up when we feel the most vulnerable. And I remember I was going through the worst part of my life, and I really it wasn't just depression, because I had suffered with depression literally since I was born. Like, that's just how bad the environment that I grew up in was. Like, I really felt that this whole concept of mental health, of actually being healthy mentally, it was not a possibility for me growing up. It just wasn't. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic, to like tell you what my lifetime movie is, but like, and I mean that like, metaphorically, right? Because everyone has their own lifetime movie story that they can tell that will make everyone cry. But like, no one, now that I'm thinking about it, no one had mental health when I was growing up. Like, no one. Not even the teachers at school. I know that sounds crazy, but actually being mental healthy is a phenomenon. Actually being okay upstairs, like, for most people the lights are on but no one's home, and it's not because people are wanting to suffer. It's because they don't understand how to navigate it. Right? So they default back to their own patterns. That's why it's called the default mode network. And I want you to start being aware of when you're talking to other people, like, what part of their brain are you actually hearing from? Because if you're hearing a lot of fear, if you're hearing a lot of anxiety, if you're hearing a lot of, oh, you can't do that, you're talking to their amygdala. You're talking to their default mode network when they say, oh, other people can do it, but I can't. Or if they tell you that other people can do it, but you can't, you're talking to their default mode network, right? Put a label on it. So very rarely are you actually going to be talking to someone's prefrontal cortex, right? Neuroscientists estimate that the majority of people do not have strong prefrontal cortexes. They're very, very, very trapped in their animalistic mind. So the more you can see that in others, the more you'll be able to identify that in yourself. When you have those thoughts, when you can't sleep at night or you feel stressed about something, you can be like, okay, there's my amygdala going off at 1 a.m. for no reason, right? The more you put a label on it, the more you strengthen your prefrontal cortex. The more you put a label on it, the more you take away the power, the energy from that emotion, and now you're cognitively focusing on something that's actually going to help you overcome it. Okay? So, this is how you break generational curses. This is how you literally end suffering once and for all, once you understand how to navigate through the processing of all of these old vibrational feelings, these low vibrational energy patterns, right? These deeply ingrained neural pathways that are not serving you, right? And I remember I was so depressed to the point where I became suicidal, and it was just one of the worst times in my life. I had been going through trauma after trauma after trauma. Then I went through this really big trauma to the point where I was just like, fuck it, I'm done. Like, this is some bullshit. And then I thought I was literally like seconds away from like ending it all. And then I felt so much like regret and anxiety. So I made a different choice in that moment. And I remember that didn't stop me from still having panic attacks. That didn't stop me from having a lot of anxiety and fear and just being in a really depressive state. And I remember thinking, like, what's the opposite of this? And that's when the idea popped into my mind, is like being a princess, right? A fairy tale. And when I really think about what a fairy tale is, it's nothing but a glamorized, sparkly, lucky girl syndrome, super delulu and borderline so blessed it's obnoxious, kind of like rags to riches story, right? It's definitely a hero's journey story arc. And that's when the very beginnings of this whole princess identity, and it kind of came from a childlike place, but it really came from a place of pain, right? Like, what's the opposite of this? Because that's what I want. I don't want to keep going through all this bullshit. Like, I don't want to keep not meeting my soulmate. I don't want to keep not living my dreams. And there was a lot of work that I had to do, and one of the best things that I ever honestly did was the energy healing sessions. And it was really the energy healing sessions and practicing gratitude, learning this process that I'm teaching you, that really transformed my life. And I think about the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, because he talks about this whole thing called epigenetics, and Bruce Lipton talks about it too. So, do you remember how I said that trauma gets stored in our DNA as information about how to survive? Well, chronic stress, I could think of your DNA like a light switch. So, chronic stress plus the information that is passed down through your DNA. You have genes, and think of it like a light switch. So chronic stress flips on the bad genes. Healing, being, and your autonomic nervous system dropping down into the parasympathetic nervous system, that's what flips a lot of the stuff off. So, my dad has diabetes, right? And on one hand, you can say, oh, it runs in the family. But no, it doesn't. What runs in the family is the eating patterns, it's the food, it's the traditions around alcohol, right? It's the lifestyle choices that drives up the cortisol, that flips on the maladaptive genes, the genes that are harmful, and it causes dysregulation and incoherence in every single area of your life, in every single area of your brain, in every single area of your body. So this work that we're doing, you're not just getting rid of generational curses at a mental level and from, your reality, but you're passing down better genes to your kids. Your grandkids will have a better set of survival instructions, a more coherent and cohesive set of survival instructions, just because you decided to process your emotions and really gain control of your mind. That's everything. That means that everyone that comes from you, that gets to be around you, gets to experience what it's like to not be deformed spiritually. So I just wanted to say that you're doing powerful work. I hope this is all making sense. I'm definitely going to keep talking on this to keep assigning meaning and value to your brain. Okay? And just know that when we do our moving energy healing sessions, I know from experience, because my nervous system was so fucked up, right? once we understand how this process works, when you are hit with resistance so hard, it makes you feel like your world is over. When things are happening to you in your external world, like everything is falling apart, and you're looking like, Jesus, what is going on? Like, let me know what's up. Your trauma will hit you so hard and so deep that sometimes you're going to feel like you should just stop. That the whole world is against you, so why bother? You're going to feel so much apathy when you're really, really processing the deepest layers, okay? And it's going to hit you right in your chest like a ton of bricks. And it's going to leave you feeling all confused, like you just don't understand why these things keep happening. And you'll feel like a little kid again, like, God, why does bad things happen to good people? And it's because of what they're carrying in their nervous systems and the neural pathways that they have in their brain. So now you know it's no longer a mystery. Now you know that you actually are in complete control. Okay? So the more that you actually work with this, the more that you use the tools that I'm giving you, the more obvious a lot of these things will become. The more you actually study the science behind how reality is formed, the more that you'll know that, and I'm pretty sure that you know from the way that this feels, that this resonates, that this hits, that I'm telling the absolute truth. Right? Because I have mentors, I have coaches, I read books, I listen to podcasts too. So I'm sharing you the best of what I know that has actually helped me transform my life, so that way you can do the same. Okay? So subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you have any questions, all my socials are below in the show notes. Feel free to send me a DM if you want me to go deeper on a specific topic, or if there's just something that you still need to understand a bit more to really help you. And definitely grab my energy healing sessions. Okay, that is really what's going to allow you to pre-create a lot of the safety that you're going to need in order to really work through this at a conscious level, at a subconscious level, and at an unconscious level. So that way, when you're being hit with resistance so strong, it makes you feel like the world is ending for you, it won't hit you as hard, right? It's like you're putting padding on. Okay? It's like you're protecting yourself, because you know those moments when you're really doing this work, you know those moments of fear, of anxiety, of doubts, you know those pendulums are very, very real, and they're not just happening to you as an individual, they're happening to us as a collective, as a world. Okay? So it's not just like, resistance doesn't just come from the inside of you, it comes from the outside of you as well. And your ability to manage what happens internally definitely allows you to manage what's happening externally. And it allows you to create the external reality that you actually want to experience. So definitely subscribe, leave me 5 stars if this was helpful, and stay tuned for the next one. Toots. Sending you so much love and so much light. We're going to make your dreams happen. I promise.